There have been a ton of Xbox stories, and I haven't been keeping up as well as I should. Sometimes they're really, really short, but I've collected a whole bunch of like these little Xbox stories, including, oh my goodness, an update on Final Fantasy 14. Let's get into everything I have for you right now. Before I get into it, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when these videos go live. So real quick, Final Fantasy XIV is a game that Xbox fans and Final Fantasy fans have wanted to come to the Xbox platform for years. If you'll remember way back in the day, the 360 eventually got Final Fantasy XI. Final Fantasy XI launched on PC and PS2. I was a Final Fantasy XI player back in the day. I never got that high of a level because at the time, I hadn't really played an MMO. I decided to go with Final Fantasy XI. I had it on my PS2. I had the hard drive. I had the Ethernet adapter. I got the keyboard and mouse so I could play on my PS2, and eventually I moved over to PC. It was sort of interesting. It was really early days of how your character could be played on PS2 or it could be played on PC, cross-play. Imagine that as far back as then. And it did eventually come to the 360. So all of these people were able to play Final Fantasy XI on basically whatever you wanted. It was really, really cool. Final Fantasy XIV, however, never came to the Xbox platform. It's something that Yoshida has talked about in the past. I've actually had the opportunity to interview him, and I asked him the same question. It's something that they have been wanting for years, and that interview was like years old, way back in the day. They were talking with Easy Allies, and here's what Yoshida said. He said, "We are still in discussions with Microsoft, and I feel like our discussions are going in a positive-like tone. I don't want to say we do not have an Xbox version. I don't want to say we do not have an Xbox version, but I'm hoping that the timing will be very soon, that I will have some kind of update to the players." Now, it would be just amazing if Final Fantasy XIV was finally able to come to the Xbox platform. I saw some people say that, like, oh, with the newfound popularity of Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy XIV isn't newfound popularity. Just to clarify that real quick, Final Fantasy XIV has never wavered in popularity since their relaunch. Since A Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy XIV has consistently been releasing amazing content. People have told me I need to play through the story, and this is a game that I've tried to get back into, but just the other things that come up in life, right? Like, keep pulling me away. I even went back to Final Fantasy XI at one point because I wanted to finish the story, and the storytelling in Final Fantasy XI, if you haven't played that, is phenomenal. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent about this particular game, but FF14 is a phenomenal game. It's never really wavered in popularity. It has seen even further explosive popularity with the upcoming release of Endwalker, to the point that they weren't even letting people pre-order the game for a little bit because they were so inundated with new requests. If you haven't played this, it's phenomenal. You should. They often even have like free weekends where you can try it out. I think they might even have some sort of free thing where you can play up to a certain level. I think I'm in the 50s or something in Final Fantasy XIV. And if you're not excited about this coming to Xbox, honestly, you should be. I think it would be a phenomenal title to have on the Xbox platform. We've seen what Phantasy Star, I believe it's Phantasy Star Online New Genesis, has done for Phantasy Star Online fans, and just having more games like that, it just further bolsters the Xbox library. I would be so happy if this finally came to Xbox after all of these years. And I didn't mean to make this all a Final Fantasy video. It's just a game that, you know, you can Google it. I did Let's Plays with Greg Miller back in the day when it was just A Realm Reborn, and I was having a lot of fun with it. And I keep like getting into it, not getting into it, but strangely enough, playing New World, Final Fantasy XIV is constantly on my mind, but I've set this silly goal of like, I'm gonna max out my character in New World because I'm having a lot of fun with those systems, and it's made me excited to go back to Final Fantasy yet again. Continuing on with the stories, however, Dragon Age 4 will be PS5 and Xbox Series S and X only, and PC, of course. So it's going to be a next-gen only game. Apparently, they're not going to be doing the older generations of consoles, which is a little bit surprising, only because it means you're going to be limiting the amount of players who can play your product. Of course, Dragon Age 4, in my opinion, is an excellent candidate for the cloud system, which would allow you to play on a next-gen version of the game, but on old hardware, right? And that's why I think the whole cloud gaming thing is it's going to be like a stealth hit. Here's just the quote from VentureBeat really quick. This news comes from the LinkedIn page for Dragon Age's lead player designer at BioWare. Hat tip to Faizan Shaika. I don't know how to say that name. I'm sorry. But I've also separately confirmed that EA is planning the game only for the new gen systems. That is according to a VentureBeat article. Dragon Age 4 coming out only on next gen means that their install base is going to be like, even if it comes out at the end of 2022, you're selling to like 40 million consoles, maybe, yeah, like 40 million as opposed to like 200 million. It's an interesting move to be sure. And I'm sure people who haven't been able to get a PS5 who are playing in the PlayStation ecosystem are going to be quite bummed about that. But it also makes sense. I hope what that means is the next Dragon Age is able to do more with the engine and do more beautiful things, because there's always this conversation that people feel like old gen consoles hold back game design. I don't believe that personally, but now there's like not really an excuse. So if it looks bad and it's all next gen, then yeah. Speaking of cloud gaming, one of the stories that I hadn't really covered is cloud gaming is available on consoles. I've been using this on PC for like a year now almost, and it works really, really good, especially for non-shooter games. I don't understand why every time they talk about cloud gaming, the first thing that they want to show is a shooter game, because you notice the latency the most in shooter games. But for something like an RPG, something like there was that hunting game they had Microsoft Reward Challenges for not that long ago that I ended up playing a whole bunch, and it plays totally fine over the cloud, which was on PC anyway. And I am really, really excited to try this out on console. Tom Warren tweeted out a picture of how it works. Basically, you are able to click play from the cloud when this service is available. So you can just, if you don't want to go through the process of downloading and installing a game, you can just stream it over the cloud, try it out for a bit, or better yet, you can download it and just start playing immediately via the cloud. If you just want to get in and get gaming day one, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes, because like if you want the premier experience, you're going to want to wait for that download so you're not streaming over the cloud. But if you just want to get in and get going and you don't really care about that, you're going to have the option to do so. I know for me, like if I just want to try out a game, or not having to download Plants vs. Zombies for the Microsoft Reward Challenges, for example, would be really nice. Plants vs. Zombies, just saying. So in addition to all of that, they're also adding wish lists, which further adds to the idea that Xbox is trying to make a platform basically that is Steam. They're trying to make a Steam-like platform where you can play wherever you want on console or whatever. And I can see this, like, I'm losing my hair. This is what happens when you have kids and they pull your hair all the time. So the idea that Xbox is trying to make a platform is true. It's what they've been trying to do for a long time, and that's, they have Game Pass. They allow you to play anywhere you want. They're adding wish lists. They're allowing you to stream your games. It's something that EA tried to do with the Origin platform, something Ubisoft has tried to do with the Uplay platform, and Xbox is doing the same thing, but their suite of services is what sets them apart. So Game Pass, being able to stream your games, all this cool stuff is really, really great. And I'm excited about it because I've been using it on PC for so long, and it's been great. The final story was that apparently the new Edge browser, it'll let you use Discord and Stadia. So you can access a lot of cool stuff with the Edge browser that's built into your Xbox console already. Now, this is one that I'm definitely going to have to get in there and try out right away, because if I can log into my Stadia account and play my Stadia stuff over the Xbox Edge browser, that's sort of trippy. And that's actually sort of what Xbox did on the iPhone to work around the challenges of working with Apple or whatever, so that they could just allow cloud gaming to be on that service. Really, really interesting stuff. A lot happening in the land of Xbox, the land of gaming just in general. And I hope you enjoyed this really quick rundown. Hey, if you like these sort of videos, thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when these videos go live. Trying to up the subscriber count. Got to make that call out every day. Don't forget, I do have memberships turned on here. So if you want to support me, there's my buddy the fly again. If you want to support me on this journey to 100,000 subscribers and support the channel as I do so, and as I make a video a day for a year, I'm tired. I shot 2 tonight. So yeah, you can do so by supporting that way. If you choose so, you can subscribe. Thank you so much to the members who have supported the channel. Wow, that was the most like convoluted outro I've done. I'm going to get out of here, everybody. I'll catch you for the next one. Bye for now.